Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I talk about things related to autism, ADHD, neurodiversity and stuff in general. So if you've seen a few of my videos and haven't subscribed yet, why not click the subscribe button, because you will edge me closer to 200,000 subscribers, which I'm very excited about, and would like to plan something special and have no idea what to do, maybe a live stream, I don't know. But if you get me there faster, I'll be forced to make a decision about it. So it's been a while since I came across this relatively new theory called monotropism, which is a theory to describe an internal cognitive way that autistic people think. There have been various different theories of autism, and some of these theories have influenced the screeners and tests that are used in diagnosis. So monotropism, I think, this questionnaire was released in May 2023, so it's very new, but I think it's quite exciting, so I wanted to do a video about it. This is not a comprehensive video, I'm afraid, but if this is something that interests you, please do comment down below and let me know if you'd like something a little more in-depth on this theory. How many times am I going to stumble across the word monotropism? Now, monotropism is about your cognitive style, which is a key part of the autistic experience. A different cognitive style, a different way of thinking. Essentially, monotropism is about focus and attention. And as far as I can tell from my research, this theory has been developed by autistic people, which automatically makes me think it's going to be a far better method of assessment for actual autism, rather than the fake autism that neurotypicals talk about. So the way it's explained is that if you are monotropic, if you have a monotropic thinking style, you have an interest-based nervous system. You focus your attention on fewer things that attract your interest, and things outside of your so-called attention tunnel are the things that might get missed around you. I love that word, attention tunnel. I'm going to use that in my everyday life. But when I first heard about this theory of monotropism, I actually honestly thought this doesn't really describe me very much. From the way that it was described about having this sort of intense focus, I do hyperfocus and I do have special interests, but there was just something about it that didn't seem to click with me. And for some background, I have an official diagnosis of autism, which I got 5 years ago, and I have an unofficial diagnosis of ADHD, which I got sort of in the time period since then. And when I say unofficial diagnosis, I don't mean self-diagnosis, although I am pro-self-diagnosis when it's necessary. But by unofficial diagnosis, I mean I had lengthy discussions with professionals. We just didn't go through the actual official diagnosis process for various reasons. So I am what you might call an AuDHDer, which is why I thought this test would be interesting, because in many cases it seems like monotropism would be the opposite of ADHD, which to me is like you see everything all at once, you're being distracted all at once. Probably not the case. But of course, when you think about it, ADHDers do hyperfocus, and apparently are also more likely to be monotropic alongside autistic people and AuDHDers. So I think probably I just didn't really understand what monotropism was describing, and I thought that the best thing for me to do was actually to take the monotropism test. So I thought it would be interesting as an AuDHDer for you to see my answers to each question and see how I respond, and then we'll see what my score is, and we'll see if I do have a monotropic cognitive pattern. So the test I'm doing is a questionnaire or screener from a place called the SAC Center, which calls itself an ADHD and Autism Testing and Treatment Center. But the test itself is based on has the same questions as a paper that was published in 2023 with over 1,000 participants involved in the survey, both autistic and non-autistic. So let's get on with the questions, shall we? Right, monotropism questionnaire. What I really appreciate about this version is that sometimes survey questions are written in kind of a confusing way, and they have a little description underneath in case you are confused as to what they actually mean. So that was quite nice. They just reword it in a slightly easier way, which maybe they should have done to begin with. But anyway, question 1. After a period of instability, I need a quiet and predictable environment. Okay, Yes, agree or strongly agree? I would say strongly agree. That sounds like me. A period of instability is a very vague statement, but okay. I need a quiet and predictable environment for me to switch from one task to another easily. Now, switching tasks is something that I have learned to do. I'm not sure in the context of my life how that really works. So I think neither agree nor disagree for that one, because I don't find switching tasks, sometimes I do. It depends on what the tasks are though. This is where all of these questions become a little bit vague, because it really depends. But in general, I can switch from one task to another. But does that mean when you've actually completed the task or in the middle of the task? But do people actually switch tasks in the middle of task? I don't know. I'm going to say neither agree nor disagree, because once I've done the dishes, I switch tasks and then I go do the laundry. That to me is switching tasks. But if I'm in the middle of writing a script, I'd want to focus on that. So this is, yeah, okay, shut up, Sam. I don't struggle with transitions as much as other people, so I don't like big transitions, yes, but smaller transitions in my day-to-day life, no. Okay, question 3. I often struggle to concentrate in busy and or unpredictable environments. Yes, strongly agree. Concentrate, yes. Number 4, I find sudden, unexpected disruptions to my attention startling. Can be, yeah, can be. I wouldn't strongly agree, but certainly agree somewhat. Okay. Number 5, it's distressing to be unexpectedly pulled away from something I'm engaged in. This is another one of those things where it depends what I'm engaged in. If I'm doing something that requires deep focus, then yes, distressing would be a word, potentially. I don't think I would get distressed, but I wouldn't be happy about it. Agree. I feel like there should be something in between the neutral option, neither agree nor disagree, something in between that and agree. Slightly agree. I would like a slightly agree option on this. Okay, number 6, I don't find eye contact uncomfortable while talking to someone. Now they've rewritten that to say I do not have a problem with eye contact. I do, so that means if I have a slight problem with eye contact, it depends on the person. This is the whole thing with all these questionnaires, it depends. And that's part of the reason why they can diagnose you, because you're picking apart the questionnaire, right? I wonder if that's part of the test. I do not have a problem with eye contact. I see. Okay, I don't really have a problem with it. I just prefer not to make it. So I'm gonna have to say neither agree nor disagree. It can be difficult sometimes, but it's not difficult always. Okay, number 7. I often notice details that others do not. Strongly agree. That one's easy for me. Number 8. Involvement in activity of interest often reduces my anxiety level. There are a few more questions that talk about anxiety specifically. I don't have a lot of anxiety in my everyday life. I have more anxiety about certain specific things. So I don't think that I take part in special interest activities in order to reduce my anxiety level. And I don't really feel like it does. So I'm going to say disagree. But the way that they've reworded that question is I'm most calm when engaged in an activity that I really love. So maybe agree. Okay, number 9. I find social interactions more comfortable if communicating about a topic of interest to me. Yes, absolutely. Strongly agree with that. I am very comfortable talking about the things I'm interested in. We all know that. That's why I have a YouTube channel. Number 10. I'm often totally focused on activities I'm passionate about to the point I am unaware of other events. Often, so this is the thing, I'm often totally focused. Well, what do you mean by often? And to being unaware of other events? No, I don't think so, but I don't necessarily have a life that allows me to do that. It sounds like it would be really nice to be super focused on something, but I do have children and other commitments and stuff like that. So I tend to be really focused during specific time blocks. I don't think I'm unaware of other events. Because my whole life is held together by trying to be aware of what's going on. I'm going to say neither agree nor disagree. I don't know if I'm answering that right. The way they've reworded that is I get obsessed with things and hyper-focus on them and lose touch with anything else going on around me. No, that doesn't really sound like me. I do get obsessed with things. I don't have the luxury of being able to hyper-focus. Let's put it that way. Number 11, I can get quite good at something even if I'm not especially interested in it. This one, when I looked at, I was not sure how I would answer this because I am somebody that can get quite good at a lot of things. But then I wonder, am I just interested in a lot of things? Have I ever been able to get quite good at something that I'm not interested in? Because being good at it is more interesting, right? What am I not interested in? Ball sports, let's say? I have not been able to get good at ball sports, but I have not put in the time. No, because I would never put in the time to get good at something that I'm not interested in. And yeah, this is a difficult question. So I can get quite good at no, I'm going to disagree. But it helps that I'm interested in a lot of things, so I'm able to get good at those things. Number 12, I often lose sense of time when engaging in activities I'm passionate about. Agree. I do find it to be a little bit of a problem sometimes, so I have to keep my day reasonably tightly scheduled. Number 13, I sometimes avoid talking because I cannot reliably predict how others will react, especially strangers. Now, since they've talked about strangers, I'm going to say agree, because I tend to, like many of us, really just open up the more I get to know someone, and maybe that's because I can then predict how they're likely to react. Masking is tricky, isn't it? I agree, yes. Sometimes I do go quiet, believe it or not. Number 14, I tend to do activities because I find them interesting instead of due to societal expectations. It's reworded as, I engage in activities I like, even if others find it weird. Strongly agree. I don't know why you would do an activity according to societal expectations, but I've never lived my life like that. Number 15, I rarely find social situations chaotic. That's an interesting word, chaotic. They've reworded it. The question is asking if you like social situations. Those two are different things. Maybe you like the chaos. I do find social situations to be chaotic. I kind of like the chaos. So how would I answer? Neither agree nor disagree. Number 16, I don't mind if someone interrupts me when I'm in the middle of an activity. Disagree. I do mind, but I'm more pissed off that they interrupted me. It's not that I couldn't switch to the new task. I'd just be annoyed at why you interrupting me. Does this happen a lot in life for people? Like, is this what work is life in the regular work? Because I don't have a lot of experience in that. But I've always just been able to do my things and then go on to the next thing. I've never been in a situation where I'm being interrupted, but I have not so much experience being in a traditional office environment, which is probably just as well. So, disagree. I do mind. I do mind. Number 17, when I'm working on something, I'm open to helpful suggestions. I don't know how many of you could predict what I'm going to say with, but strongly disagree. I do not wish to have helpful suggestions when I'm working on something. Like, it really depends on the situation and who it would be, but generally, let me do my thing, and then maybe at the end we'll see. I do struggle with helpful suggestions in general, especially if I feel the other person doesn't know what they're talking about. So, strongly disagree. How autistic am I going to come out as? Number 18. I often find it difficult to switch topics after engaging in an activity for a long time. Agree. I don't often engage in activity for a long time. But you do, especially if I'm doing something deep focused, like writing, it takes a while for you to come back to reality. Number 19, I often engage in activities I'm passionate about to escape from anxiety. Disagree. I don't do them because I'm trying to escape anxiety. I think that's what they're getting at. Number 20, routines provide an important source of stability and safety. Yeah, I would agree. 21, I manage uncertainty by creating routines. Slightly agree? Agree. I do. I have my routines, I think. They're not super routines, but I have some. Number 22, I often experience anxiety over matters I have little certainty over. Maybe? I don't know. It's this word often. What does it mean? Often? Every day? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be anxious about something, it would be something that you don't know what's going to happen. Number 23, I find it difficult to engage in a task of no interest to me, even if it is important. Strongly agree, yes. But that's kind of probably more of an ADHD thing, isn't it? Number 24, I often find engaging in stimming, e.g. fidgeting, rocking, to be relaxing. Well, this is where the autistic community is going to come from me. I don't stim to relax. I don't find actively stimming to be relaxing, apart from a rocking chair, for example. I'd rock on a rocking chair. It's not relaxing for me to rock on my own. As an autistic ADHDer, the stims I do seem to be more along the lines of how ADHDers stim, which is more like hyperactive nervous energy stimming than self-soothing stimming. I don't know if I find it to be relaxing. I would say it's more about Yeah, it's probably more about relieving anxiety or regulating rather than actually relaxing. So I often find it to be relaxing. Disagree. Number 25, I'm usually passionate about a few topics at any one time in my life. Strongly agree. I'm always interested in something. Great conversation starter with me, by the way. What are you interested in at the moment, Sam? Well, let me tell you. It's not much of a conversation, though, is it? Number 26, I have trouble filtering out sounds when I am not doing something I'm focused on. They've reworded this. If I'm doing something I'm not passionate about or interested in, I have trouble filtering out random noises. Yes, I have trouble filtering out random noises even when I am doing something I'm interested in, though. Number 27, I usually mean what I say and no more than that. I would say pretty much straightforward unless I'm trying to be polite and, evasive. Evasively polite. Politely evasive. Number 28, I often engage in lengthy discussions on topics I find interesting, even though my conversational partners do not. Sometimes agree. As part of my mask, I'm a bit conscious of that. So I would say often and lengthy are probably the things. I do talk about topics I'm interested in with people who may not be, but I have learned to try and read people to see if they are, or talk about them with the right people. Number 29, I sometimes accidentally say something others find offensive or rude when I'm focused on a task. The rewording of this is, people say I'm rude at times, even though I don't think I'm being rude, or you get the vibe that what you said was taken poorly by the other person. Sometimes. I sometimes accidentally say something. Okay, I agree that sometimes. Not always. I do try to be nice. I try to be polite and I try to be kind, but my brain doesn't always work that way. Relatable. Number 30. I can sometimes be very distressed by a topic that others think of as trivial. Yes, but a lot of people think that very important things are trivial, so that's more on them, isn't it? That's one thing I wanted to say about this whole monotropism thing, is that it is part of the concept of neurodiversity, in that it's not a disordered view of autism, it's more like a descriptive, neutral view of what autism and autistic thinking actually is. So I do really appreciate that, because none of these questions are coming from a deficit point of view. So others thinking of something as trivial doesn't say that, oh, we are preoccupied by inappropriate things. That just means others might see it as trivial, but we don't. So I like that. Number 31, I find it easy to keep up with group discussions where everyone is speaking. Everyone is speaking. Strongly disagree. I disagree that anyone can do that, but anyway. Number 32, often when I am focused on activities, I do not notice I am thirsty or hungry. Disagree. I have a very strong sense of interoception, so I'm always thirsty and hungry and I always need to pee kind of thing. That's the next question. Often when I'm focused on activities, I do not notice I need the bathroom. Disagree. Number 34, when there is a lot of information to consider, I often struggle to make a decision. I mean, I'm struggling to make a decision about this one right now. Yes, I think so. Yes, I agree. Number 35, sometimes making a decision is so hard I get physically stuck. Physically stuck. They've described this. You get paralyzed by some hard decisions. This doesn't mean physically unable to move, but you really can't do anything until the decision is made. That's a weird way of putting it, physically stuck. But okay, stuck will do. Sometimes making a decision. What kind of a decision would be so hard that I would get stuck? No, I'm going to disagree on that one. I think my decision making has improved as well. Right, number 36. I sometimes focus on an incident for a substantial time, days after the event. Days? Days? Try months, try years. I'm still focused on things that have happened years ago. So I guess strongly agree. Substantial time, days. Do other people drop these things? Do people really just not think about stuff for... Okay. Number 37, I sometimes become highly anxious by focusing on the many possible situations that might occur at a future event. Disagree. That to me is more like an anxiety thing. I'm not saying I don't have anxiety. I definitely do. It depends on the situation. But my anxiety is not built out of the possible situations that could happen, if that makes sense. Right. Number 38, sometimes when I'm focused on an activity, I do not recall all the information I might need to make good decisions. I do not understand that question, and it does not rewrite it. Okay, so it's being so focused that you can't think of information to make decisions. Doesn't sound like me. Number 39, people tell me I get fixated on things. has happened. I don't like questionnaires. This is an aside. This one doesn't have it too much, but a lot of questionnaires is people tell me I'm rude. People tell me, like, people don't tell me shit. People don't tell me these things. I think maybe sometimes people have made a comment that I'm fixated on something, but fixated, I would say, has a very negative connotation, so... Number 40. I find a problem I can't solve distressing and or hard to put down. Agree on some things, yes. Number 41. I tend to feel quite self-conscious unless I'm deeply absorbed in a task. Disagree. I don't think my self-consciousness has anything to do with whether I'm absorbed or not. I feel less self-conscious if I am deeply absorbed. Wait, is that what I said? No. No, because that's different, feeling self-conscious unless you are absorbed. So obviously being absorbed means you're not thinking about yourself, right? But no, self-consciousness is something different, for me anyway. Number 42, I often get stuck thinking about all the possibilities that might come out of a decision. Disagree. Maybe, no, neither agree nor disagree. I don't know, depends. Number 43, when I'm interested in something, I tend to be passionate about it. Strongly agree. Number 44, when I'm interested in a topic, I like to learn everything I can about that topic. Somewhat agree. I'm not one of these big fact collecting. I like to learn more about the context and the structure and how it all connects, you know, sociology student. Number 45, I'm still fascinated by many of the things I was interested in when I was much younger. Much younger. University? Much younger? Yeah, quite a few years ago now. I have been interested in psychology for many, many years, so yes. I still occasionally rewatch Buffy, and that's still kind of like an interest. No, it's not really an interest. I do watch it, and it brings back all the good feelings. So yeah, I agree. I have moved on since I was much younger to different things, but in general, I would say yes. Number 46, I rarely find myself getting stuck in thoughts of loops of thought. I do not get stuck in repetitive thoughts about a topic. Disagree. No, I do. That's one thing that I don't like about my brain, because it doesn't feel good to go over and over and over something. I don't like that. But it does happen to me, yes. Number 47, I often loop back to previous thoughts. Loop back to previous thoughts. I don't understand how that's different from the other question. Loop back to previous thoughts. Like, of course you go back to the previous thoughts. Isn't that what everyone does? Okay, agree. And that's it. Right, let me submit. And then we will find out how monotropic I score. Now, one thing I will say is when you do this, you have to scroll. Oh, no, you don't. Last one I did, I had to scroll all the way down. Okay, so my score was 180. Rating scale subscore, 180. The average score of others with a previous diagnosis of autism is 188. If you score above 178, this indicates your scores are similar to others with autism. Yay! So according to this questionnaire, I am a monotropic thinker, in line with other autistic people. I find it really funny because these questionnaires always make me think, like, wait, is this not what everyone does, even now? And I guess that's the joy of the autistic experience, being completely oblivious after decades of life and a psychology degree as to the internal condition of the average neurotypical person. Oh well. Let me know how you scored in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So, monotropism. Number 13. It's a value-less judgment. No, it's Number 29. I sometimes but I have not puddin'. I find sudden, unexpected descriptions, but the test itself is based on, it's the same questions from a I think probably I didn't quite understand how monotropic, but by unofficial diagnosis I mean I had lengthily, which had over 1,000 participants.